Hi guys, welcome to a special gold lap guide for the Honda Racing fastest attack time trial at the Nordschleife in the new Honda Civic Type R. I've currently got a gold time and actually managed to beat the real life target time, so I'm due a certificate. I'll show you what I did to achieve that. The Nordschleife is a proper demanding and technical circuit, and there's lots of little details I want to share with you, so stick around to the end. I'm sure you'll pick up a few helpful tips. I've also put each sector into its own timestamp, so feel free to flick between the sectors should you wish to do that. So let's get this lap guide started. Out the last corner in third gear. First corner, first braking point, where this orange bit is in the barrier on the right hand side, and I like to stay in third gear. You can use second, I just stayed in third for this one. But we don't start the lap great and we miss the apex. Make a better job of the apex than I do here. Get the car rotated and get them on the power as early as you can. Fighting understeer there, but a common theme with this car for me around this circuit. Coming down the hill and just around about here, I start to come off the throttle, get it turned in, back on the throttle again in fourth gear, use all that circuit on the left hand side, away we go. So the next braking point I like to use for this section is where these little red flowers are on the right hand side. I'm staying in fourth gear for this bit. I'll be fourth gear for the next two corners as well. So we'll hard on the brakes for a brief moment, off the brakes as we turn in, back on the brakes a bit more again, and just trail them around this corner. Take as much of this curb as you can, back on the power nice and early. This car will accept it, away we go. Into this next bit, fourth gear again, take plenty of this curb. I drop a little bit to third on the exit of this one because I start to get bogged down a little bit. Just there. Back on the power, nice and aggressive. Next braking point, just after this tarmac changes colour, I like to be in third gear for this next corner. And the plan here is to get a brilliant exit onto this straight. So stay in third, take plenty of this curb on the right hand side, flick it up to fourth, get aggressive on the power, use a bit of this circuit on the left hand side, a bit of this grass, you can get away with it. Car will accept it, full power all the way down this next section. Now you can rev this car out pretty aggressively. I'm choosing to do that on here. Next braking point or point of interest is just as we crest this hill. When you come over the top of this hill and you start to see the right hand corner, dab the brakes a little bit, just knock a little bit of speed off, and as soon as you get past the first apex you should be able to go full power. So through the apex there, smash the power on. I could probably take a bit more speed through there because I've not maximised the circuit on the left hand side. But away we go, down this long straight. Again, rev it out all the way. We do get to sixth gear on this part of the track. Very, very fast, probably one of the fastest parts of the track this. Up to the next point of interest. Just before this 5 km sign on the right hand side, just roughly where the arrow is, I like to dab the brakes and get down into fifth gear. What we're trying to do here is trying to keep the car to the left as we go in, and this will help open up the right hander. Brake just before we get to the end of the red and white curbing, roughly where this arrow is, and we are going to go down to third gear. Now make sure you get the speed knocked off this car, because if you don't and you start turning, the car will be going sideways. So down to third gear. I get a bit greedy on the apex, a little bit on the inside, but we get away with it, we're okay there. Back on the power nice and early, be really aggressive with the power, use all this circuit on the left hand side, up into fourth and get down this hill. Again, very fast part of the circuit, and a good exit onto this bit is absolutely vital. So we're going to stay in fifth gear all the way down this hill, and the next point of interest is just before the white sign on the right hand side, roughly where this arrow is. I like to apply a little bit of brakes and go down to fourth gear. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the curb on the inside of this one. You'll see this, bit of brakes, fourth, bit of curb, straight into third again. Try and take this line a bit tight, take a bit too much grass there. So open this next little bit up. I'm going to stay in third gear, hard on the brakes, this corner. Could probably take that a little bit wider if I wanted to, but I just did it on this occasion. Take plenty of curb on the right hand side, stay in third, get the power down nice and early, bit of understeer there off the curb. I get a bit greedy on the grass there as well, really holding on to this lap, but we get away with it. We're down to the next section. Now again, this is very easy to get caught out. I stay to the right here just to make sure I get a good line for this corner. Roughly where this barrier is on the right hand side, or where this silver bit of the barrier is on the right hand side, I like to apply a little bit of braking, and again, I'll go down to 4th gear on this one. And I'm just going to take a little bit of this curb on the left hand side. You can get away with taking a bit of curb and grass on some of these corners without unsettling the car too much. Now carry the speed through there. The next braking point, just at the end of this little bit of concrete curbing on the right hand side, we'll apply even more brakes and we'll get the car slowed down, and eventually we'll be in 3rd gear for this corner. So as we come down here, plenty of brakes on, 3rd gear, not too early because you'll spin the car a little bit, keep nice and tight, full power, take some of this curb on the right hand side. Next braking point, just where this white sign is on the left hand side. We're in 3rd gear here, we're going to stay in 3rd gear, we rev it out a little bit too much, but we sort of get away with it. 3rd gear to this next bit of corner, be careful on the brakes, very easy to spin it down here. Knock the speed off nice and gradual, nice and tight, get on the power as early as you can, use all this circuit on the left hand side, and away we go. Up into 4th gear for this next bit tricky this next bit, a little lift on the way in, and then around about this point, apply the brakes. Not too much because you'll spin the car. I get a bit too greedy on the inside of the curbs. I could probably take a bit more speed through here as well. A bit slow, but again, we just about get away with it. Going up to this next section now, I've not got a braking point for this as such. Somewhere around where this arrow is, I'll be applying full brakes for a brief moment in a straight line to get the car slowed down a little bit. So it's full brakes, off the brakes as we turn in, take a bit of curb, full brakes again, down to 3rd, and try and take this corner nice and tight. As soon as you get to that apex, get on full power, and away we go. Use all that circuit there on the left hand side, excellent. Up to 4th gear, next braking point is just before either at the end of the curve on the right hand side, or where this little orange toilet is on the right hand side as well. Either of those will do nicely, and we're eventually going to get brake down into 3rd gear. So nice and easy there. Try not to run too wild on this one, it's slightly off camber this corner, easy to run onto that curbing on the right hand side. Stay to the left of that if you can, and set this next corner up. Now I stay in 4th for this, some people stay in 3rd, I go in 4th. Stay in 4th, take a bit of this curb here, nice and aggressive on the throttle, up this hill for the best exit, onto this long straight. And we stay in 4th down here, we don't really need to use 5th. And as we come down here, I stay to the right a little bit just so we can open this left-hander up, and that way we can carry just a little bit more speed. Next braking point is where this blue blob or graffiti is in the middle of the track. It's really easy to see, it's a great braking point, never moves, feel free to use that. So hard on the brakes, we'll get into 3rd gear eventually, and we're back up to 4th again just as we look to exit. I get a bit of understeer there, but I'm hard on the throttle, and we get away with it, use that curve on the left hand side for the best exit down this section. And the goal round here is just to try and keep the speed up and use the steering as minimally as possible. So pick the best line you can, pick the straightest line you can through all this. And I will say, guys, we've approached or we've exceeded 500 subscribers last week. Thank you so much for all your support. If you do like this and you get value out of it, then please do hit the like button and consider subscribing for more content like this. I really appreciate it, so thank you. The next braking point we have coming up, just where this concrete bit of curbing is on the right hand side, I'll start to apply some braking. Not full brakes, maybe 50-60% brakes, and we'll go down to 4th gear. We'll be quite aggressive on this, get the car turned, take a bit of this curb, and as soon as you do that, get back on full power. The car will accept it nicely. You can use this curb on the right hand side. There we go, full power, there's lots of time to be gained right there. Flats, 5th gear over this bit, took a bit too much curb there for my liking, but we'll get away with it. Braking point for this, now I get this a little bit wrong. You want to brake just before this curb starts on the left hand side. I brake a bit late, and you see the results of braking too late into this corner. Just broke way too late there, and we completely missed the apex. However, we managed to recover it. We just get the car slowed down, we do a squared off line, which can also work with this corner. In 3rd gear, straight away towards the carousel. Probably the most famous corner on the circuit. Just as you pass this tree on the left hand side and roughly where this arrow is on the right hand side, I brake around about that point and go down to 3rd gear. Now you've got to be really careful with this. Don't take too much speeding, because if you spit out the other side of the carousel, you'll lose so much time. Just try and stay on this banking, keep the left hand tyres on this dark bit of tarmac on the inside, and As soon as you see that corner exit or the curbing on the right hand side of the exit corner, start to apply throttle nice and progressively, because this car, it won't surprise you on throttle. You can get away with it and it won't spit you out too far, and you can get a nice early exit for that corner. Now, up the hill, again, this one is a nice bit fast part of the circuit. Full speed through there, don't lift. Just before this curb on the right hand side, we apply a little bit of brakes. We're still in 4th gear, a little bit of brakes just to get the car turned in, and we'll take a little bit of this curb on the left hand side as we go through. We're going to knock a bit more speed off as we go past it for this right hander. Again, take a bit of curb on this one as well. It's a theme for this circuit, taking curbs. Try not to run too far wide, because you'll miss this next corner. Roughly where that marshal or that orange bit of barrier is on the right hand side, start to apply a little bit of braking for this next corner. Again, be careful you don't take too much speed through here, because you can spend time going sideways and losing time. I stay in 4th gear for this one. Use all the circuit on the left hand side again. We're really pushing these boundaries today, aren't we? This next bit is really enjoyable, so just to lift off the throttle there and turn in. Then it's a dab of the brakes for this next bit. Stay in 4th gear for all this. Dab of the brakes there. Take some of this concrete curb on the left hand side, so open this right hander up. Dab of the brakes again. Take plenty of curb there. Use all that on the left hand side, and just before the, well, just where the edge of the fence is on the left hand side, where that marshal is, that's roughly where we're going to start braking down for the next bit. Now on this specific section, it's a little bit slower than the last section. I still stay in 4th gear, take a bit of curb again, and we take a nice wide line, just stay on the track there. Nice and early brakes for this. It's downhill, you need to make sure you knock the speed off before you get there. Around about where this arrow is, there's not really a specific braking point, it's about where the arrow is approximately, where I start to just apply some brakes. Hard brakes for a moment and back off again into 3rd gear, back into 4th, and try and open this right hander up by taking some of this curb on the left. So open this right hander up, stay in 4th gear, take plenty of curb there. I don't take as much as I should do. Use all this on the left hand side for the exit. Go to the next section. Now just before this curb ends on the left hand side, we're going to brake down into 3rd gear as we go around this corner. Again, you've got to be careful you don't run too wide here. It's slightly off camber, this corner, a bit deceptive this. Get into this 3rd gear, plenty of curb again, on the power nice and early, very easy to run off wide, be very careful of that. And stay in 3rd gear for this bit, and just before this graffiti in the track there, you can see with the arrow, I like to then apply a dab of brakes. We're not trying to take too much speed off here, we need to try and get a good exit out of this corner because there's a bit of a straight that follows. So dab the brakes, take some of this curb on the left hand side if you can. I don't do a good enough job of that, I go too wide. You take all this curb on the right hand side, nice and aggressive on power, out in 4th gear, all the way down towards the jump. Again, this can catch you out as well if you're not too careful. Just before or just as the car starts to drop down this hill, I'll then start applying some braking, and what you want to try and do is land so that you can get round this next bit of the corner and get the power on straight away almost. I take a little bit too much in there, but I'm okay, I just about get away with it. Back on full power through here. You don't want to be too wide there because you will kill your lap. Long bit of acceleration zone now all the way down here. All you're trying to do is just trying to keep the car on the track and pray for dear life that you don't invalidate your lap. You take some of these curves like I've done, take a nice straight line, or as straight a line as you can through some of those. Next braking point, just where this concrete curb ends on the left hand side here, I like to just brake down and go down to 4th gear, but it's not 4th straight away, it's brake and then 4th, otherwise you can spin the car on downshifting. Nice and tight to that curb. We don't quite get it back to the right, but it doesn't really matter too much. Down to 3rd gear for this next bit. Take some curb there. Use all this on the right hand side. Use all this exit curbing like that in 4th. Down to the mini carousel. Somewhere around where this arrow is, we'll start to apply some braking. Not a lot. We're just trying to knock a little bit of the speed off. This is a bank corner, don't forget. There's plenty of grip on the inside of this. Just knock a bit of speed off. Stay in 4th. Nice and aggressive on the power as soon as you start getting around that corner. So nice and aggressive on the power, using all the circuit on the right hand side. Coming up to this last section, we can almost taste the finish line. Just as this red and white curving ends on the left hand side, roughly where the arrow is. I have a tiny dab of the brakes. You can probably come around here without doing that, but a comfort tap, 20%, just to get the car in there, and then we're hard on the throttle. And around about this point here, come off the throttle, get the car turned in quite aggressively, back on the throttle again, maximize this exit. This is crucial for a good lap time. I could probably go a bit faster around there and use a bit more of that circuit on the left hand side. I'll probably lose a couple of tenths on this section because of that. So I'll fast forward this next bit, and I want to say, guys, again, thank you very much for watching this video, and if you have got any value out of this at all, then please do leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more like this. I do these every week and I love doing them. So coming down to the last section now, and again, this can make or break your lap. Around about this section here, it's a lift, take a bit of curb, and as soon as you get to roughly where this arrow is and you get the car straightened up, and then apply full brakes in a straight line. I'm going to try and get this car slowed down as quick and as efficiently as possible. So full brakes, down to 4th gear, off the brakes a little bit where you do that turn, back on again, down to 3rd, take plenty of this curb on the right hand side, and set this last corner up. Now, just as this concrete starts on the left hand side, it's a little dab of the brakes, and you want to make sure you don't go too wide into this. Very easy to kill your lap by sliding through this corner. Make sure you get the car slowed down enough, nice and tight to the barrier, on the power as early as you can, use all that circuit on the left hand side, full power, stick to the right, and we go across the line in 7 minutes 44.383, which is actually good enough for 1.5%, and at the time of recording, 253rd in the world. But not only that, I'm going to get a certificate as well, which I am double chuffed about. Now, I've spoken a lot about braking control in this video, and this video right here could take your braking to the next level. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.